Hi there, another day, another castle. Let's go. To get to the castle we have to walk through this nice little English garden, and the castle itself looks to be under reconstruction. And here I think is some reconstruction going on underground too. Little moles are working here. The garden itself is pretty nice, especially in the fall. You can see beautiful colors, and it's on the hill. Down below is a village, a train, a railroad, and also a river, I think. So this was a strategic place in the old times, as the castle was guarding the trade that passed below. This small English park has several rare trees, for example sycamore maple, and you can also see statues of saints dating from the 18th and 19th centuries. And you can look over the cliff down below to the valley where a river flows. The castle itself is much older, and I'll get back to it later. Now it's time to go back to the castle, because the tours are every hour on top of the hour, and I think my time is up almost. So let's go. And here we are in the courtyard. Obviously, as you can see, it's being repaired, reconstructed, and we will eventually go in and up. But first let's take a peek at this. What is it? Well, it's a jail. Every castle in the old times, hundreds of years ago, had its own jail. And now we go in, and to preserve the beautiful floors here, we have to wear some slippers that are provided. And the castle actually has pretty authentic artwork, and actually I should say many objects are very valuable, and it's quite a treat that they are original. And there are a couple of reasons why that is. When the original owner at the end or after the end of Second World War realized that he will be losing family property, that the state will take it from him, because he had German citizenship and was a member of the Sudeten German party. He made an inventory of every item in the chateau. He tied the cards to each object and stored most of the furniture in the basement, and townspeople kept other pieces safe in their homes. And then Château became the property of the state after the war. During communism, the Château was placed in the second category, which meant it was occasionally open to the public. If a Château was designated a 1, it was frequently open for visitors and served as a cultural landmark. When a Château was listed with a 3, it was bad news. It meant that the interior would be torn apart, the chateau would be used for other purposes, such as educational institution, warehouse, stables, storage, whatever. But first, a little about the history of the chateau. Hrubý Rohozec, as it is called, originated around the 13th century. In 1628, a French family, Nicolas Desfours was the head of the family, came to Bohemia as a military leader in the 30 Years' War, and the chateau remained in that family's ownership until 1945. There are many fascinating tales about the family who owned the chateau, but I think one of the most interesting ones is about Marie. She was a wife of the owner of the castle in the 20th century, and she, after studying medicine, spent World War I helping the sick in the Balkans. Then she returned and treated patients for free, making house calls until she was 77 years old. And during the World War II, she even took care of injured American pilots whose plane had been shot down in Moravia. And Marie was also the first female doctor in the Czech lands who worked in the countryside. She was also one of the first women to have a driver's license. So that was quite remarkable, I think. The chateau is now furnished according to the photographs from the 1930s, when the second to last owner had lived there with his wife and two sons. By the way, the altar, the main altar that we saw earlier in the chapel, dates from 1670, so it's pretty old. There are two libraries in the chateau, and the topics of books in both libraries included military, history, genealogy, and Spanish history, to name just a few. And the small library holds about 3,500 books, and the large one about 10,000 books. So it was quite extensive collection. Neo-Gothic dining room is obviously where the family ate, and what is interesting about it is that helmets and much weaponry is displayed on the walls and in the display cases. Some arms are from the 30 Years' War, while others dated from 18th or 19th centuries. And you can also see some pretty rare porcelain objects. Then we went to the study. The boys, the two sons of the last owner, were obviously homeschooled. They had an English teacher, and they learned several languages, as was kind of usual at that time for people like the owners of this castle. On the walls you can also see that they like to hunt, some hunting trophies, deer, elk, whatnot. And since it was kind of refurbished according to how it looked like about 90 years ago, you can see that the family looked to be living pretty well. So I think this will be it for this castle, and I have one more castle in mind. So let's move on, let's get on the road, let's see something more.